Hi, everyone, and thank you for attending this session. I would like to thank Tina Rasaye for organizing the Archaeology of the Near East and Videogames session again this year. Today, I'm going to talk to you about an RPG game that entertained me during last winter's lockdown in Italy. I played it remotely with my friends using Google Jamboard and Miro. I'm going to turn my camera off for the rest of the presentation. I'm going to present you the game and a few fundamental rules, and then share with you my adventures and the great potential of Broken Compass as an educational game. Broken Compass is an adventure role-playing game designed by two little mice, Riccardo Sirignano and Simone Formicola, and is illustrated by Daniela Giubellini, inspired by the great movies and games of the genre, from The Mummy all the way to Uncharted, passing through Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. The same team already funded the adventure journal of Broken Compass with 2 successful Kickstarter campaigns. It won the Annie Awards and the Italian RPG for the Year award. The first edition of the game is set in 1999. There are then 4 more expansions: The Golden Age, set in the 30s, Jolly Roger, set in the pirate time, Voyage Extraordinaire, where you meet extraordinary creatures, the newest one, What If, which takes inspiration from Lovecraft's tale horror, and a spin-off called The Luck Tales. Why is it called Broken Compass? Because north is not where the adventurer needs to go. There are 4 characters, a fortune master, and only D6 are used. The fortune master will be in charge of knowing the story and the locations of the game. They will be the one describing the challenges the adventurers will have to face along the way. They also play all the extras and rivals that come into the story as the adventure progresses. Each of the other players assume the role of an adventurer, a person of action, setting out in search of something. Generally, adventurers act and speak in response to the scenes the Fortune Master stages. Sometimes, for example, when risks need to be taken or when they are presented with unforeseen circumstances, adventurers can use their skills and roll a number of d6 to determine if luck is on their side. Each player has an adventure sheet where they can keep note of their abilities, expertise, and any feeling they might have. Although the Fortune Master is the one conducting the game, the adventure is developed together. The players decide together the when and where, the mission, the enemy, and the relationship between them. For example, how they know each other, if they know each other at all. This aspect makes the game much more inclusive, in my opinion, as the story is going to be approved by everybody. The flexibility of the game is the strength of the game itself. One is not an automatic failure. You're still going to reach your goal, but things can go sideways in the process. Like you're climbing the mountain, but it was the wrong direction. It is a super open adventure where each character doesn't just wait for the Fortune Master to throw stuff at them, but the adventurers can also create the story. You really feel like in the movies. The game uses the stereotypes of treasure hunters, such as Indiana Jones, to create a familiar space where then the story and details must be critically introduced. Every adventurer has an adventure sheet where you note all your personal info, the amount of luck that you have, your skills that are divided into 6 fields, the expertise that you gain, the feelings that you've developed during the adventure, the weapons and gears, your inventory, so object that you carry in pockets, bag, or backpack, and the number and type of mags for your weapons, the scar and expertise that you obtain. In the adventure sheet, you write your name, last name, and any applicable titles, like professor or doctors. In the Call Me If You Need a field, you describe yourself using 2 tags from the tag list. For example, you can be a daredevil action hero or a rebel pilot. You call home those places when you know the culture and language. They are heritage, homeland, and workplace. When you find yourself in a place you call home, you always know your way around, and you can certainly count on a couple of people here and there, so you have an advantage in some actions. Your heritage represents the place and culture you were born into, where your parents are from. It might be a country you have never seen, but your roots are there. Your homeland is the place where you grew up, while your workplace represents the country to which you moved for professional purposes. Words to live by is your motto, a sentence describing what you believe in or that guides you during your adventure. It could be, that belong in a museum, or finish what you started. Luck points reflect how much luck you have left before being out of luck. They're sort of your life points. On your sheet, they're represented by 10 white dots. Every time you fail a challenge, you lose luck, and you fill in one of the dots from left to right. When all dots are filled, you're out of luck, and your only chance is to use the luck coin. Sorry about that. Each player has one or more luck coins. A luck coin can save you when you're out of luck or grant you success for any desperate or very dangerous action. Skills are divided into 6 different fields that represent the context in which they are most often required. Expertise come into place when you feel in your element. So in a situation where your skills are perfect, you can re-roll every dice that is not a success. You develop feeling after an epic action. So you add good feelings that give you an advantage or bad feelings that give you a disadvantage. For weapons and gear, you can pick anything you want, but the number is decided by the Fortune Master. Your inventory is divided in 3 sections: pockets, bag, and backpack. And any object that is neither weapons nor gear will end up straight in the inventory. Besides their name and basic info, tags are required to be a hero, and each player can pick 2 from the tag list. For instance, you can be a hunter professor or a techie playboy. Skills are determined by the diamonds. Next to each field and skill, there are 3 diamonds. Some are already filled in, but most of them are blank. When you choose a tag, you can fill in a diamond for its field and 1 for each of the skills. And in this case, the diamonds in black are common to all adventure sheets. The diamond in blue were obtained through 2 chosen tags, and the diamonds in yellow were chosen by me, the player, because you have 2 extra diamonds to assign. With every tag, you also gain an expertise that represents an activity, subject, or context in which you feel proficient. An expertise reduces your chance of failure in certain situations to a minimum by giving you a free reroll. For instance, the expertise orienteering comes into play when you decide which way to go. At the beginning of the game, you have 1 luck coin. When you fail in the face of danger, you lose a number of luck points tied to the difficulty of the challenge. Basic, critical, extreme, or impossible. Now we got the character set, the time and when, the treasure. We know who we are going to fight against, the relationship between adventures, so we can go. I played 2 adventures. The first one was named The God's Return, very Indiana Jonesy, set in the 30s. So I used the Golden Expansion. We were looking for an ancient Maya Book of the Dead in Mexico. The book doesn't exist, but to find it, we had to consult the Dresden Codex. We learned about Xibalba, the Mayan underworld, and the significance of gold in Mesoamerica. We traveled to Rio de Janeiro via a German craft dirigible, flew on a Grumman D-21 Goose, visited Chichicastenango, which I did visit during my trip to Mexico a few years back, learned about Mayan numbers to solve a riddle that would open a door, and about the Cyclocosmius spider, which is a curious spider with a very interesting butt. The Fortune Master took all these real elements and included them in the story. And so he gave us the chance to learn about them, and he learned about them as well while researching. The second adventure I played with my friends is called the Eastern Dinner. We are at the end of the 90s, in 1999, studying in Thailand, and these are the adventures. In Pils, We found ourselves chasing the husk of a mammoth that was stolen from a private villa during an art auction. We first traveled to London, visited the Natural History Museum, which holds other bone specimens of Ice Age animals. We have learned about the mammoth, the Irish elk, scientific name Megaloceros gigantus, and the holy rhinoceros, Colodonta antiquitatis. The game can also give the players the chance to talk about current issues. In our case, the story linked to the news that came out some time ago regarding the Russian experiment of bringing back Ice Age animals. The New York Times article, dated last year, focuses the attention on the study of Professor George Church, professor of genetics in the Blavatnik Institute at Harvard Medical School. His project is trying to de-extinct genes to create genetically modified elephants that can live in the Arctic, where they can contribute to reducing carbon risk. I played the regular game set in 1999 and the Golden Age expansion set in the 30s, and I just love the game. The potential is immense. I was struck by the accuracy of my Fortune Master. After we decided the historical and geographical background and the treasure, which of course was an existing artifact, my Fortune Master very accurately researched the culture and he proposed locations and monuments that exist and are part of the culture and artifacts that are related to it. Moreover, we're talking about means of transportation. The choices were a vehicle that really existed in those times and were used on the side of the world that we were on. It was a sort of RPG historical reenactment without costumes. And on this note, I want to conclude sharing this news that was posted on February 1st, 2020 by an Italian no-profit association, which organized a program for kids in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, in which through RPG, kids are going to discover and learn about history at school. On April 5th, one of the Italian newspapers published an article about this very successful project that continued even during remote teaching last winter. I finished my presentation and I want to thank my friends for introducing me to this game. Thank you all of you for listening. I'm looking forward to your questions. Ciao.